Wagwan, what's going on? Que pasa? Homies? Alright. I know it's hard to get people to listen for a long time, but this is a special video request from my man's, my unc, Brian. Shout him out. He wanted me to talk about customer service and the issue with black people in our own community when it comes to customer service, right? Oh, here we go. Let's get it started. Black people, trigger word. Oh, first part about customer service, right? And just to get us in tune, when I say black people, right, I don't want you to... Okay, the immediate response is to think about yourself when I say black people because you are black. So before you think that, you know, you're specifically one of the black people, think about the black people you know, not just you because you're black. All right, but customer service. Okay, my last job was at Rothschild's liquor store. I ended up working there for about 5 years. Started off as an employee, became a manager. I started on 79th and Ashland. Ended up moving to 39th in Indiana, then to 63rd, and then to one of the ones out west. And personal, right? Whenever people say, you know, you can't help everybody, you know, that's why I kind of, you know, rocked into my Bob Marley Rastafarian stuff, because at work with customer service, that's your job, to help everybody. And I was good at it. I took it personally because I love people. I'm a people person. Yeah, so the problem, right, is the expectations on both sides with the customers and the employees. And I know you wanted me to talk about the employees, but you know, that's the part that I think people forget, is that in a customer and an employee, you know, the position can change, because when you're at work, when you get off work, you're going to go somewhere and be a customer. So the customer's always right. You already know that's the main point, right? The expectations that you have on a customer are completely out of bounds. Now, the expectations that the customer has for the employee, they got a little bit more, you know, credit to it type shit, because you're at work. You know what I mean? You represent a whole company and all of that. The customer is not at work, so they have no legal obligations, basically. If you get into a confrontation with a customer, you and the company have everything to lose, and the customer has nothing to lose. So, you know, right and wrong, you know what I mean? That kind of causes too much confrontation, too much conflict, because you got to cut your emotions off, cut your dreads off. You know, whatever problems you got at home, you got to leave at home, right? Now, I remember, where am I at? 3 minutes? Okay. So I remember back in grammar school how they used to say there's no such thing as a stupid question. You have to really take that into effect when you're at work and you're dealing with customers, because there's always going to be a stupid customer. And under my Bob Marley stuff, I'm not supposed to use words like stupid and all of that, but I got to be honest and real so y'all feel me and understand me. Because you have to delete that whole common sense thing, because there's always going to be a customer that comes in that irritates your common sense. Sometimes they don't know how to count, you know, sometimes they rude, you know, it's a lot of stuff. Where was I finna take this? Hold on, take a sip of coffee. All right, so you got to delete your common sense factor, and there's no such thing as a stupid question. And you have to really put yourself in a position of being able to teach, you know, because, okay, you have to, all right, judging the book by its cover. It's something that you're not supposed to do, but in a professional environment, you have to know how. And, you know, too many people get offended by that idea and everything like that. But, and yeah, somebody did hit me with something like that. I'm going to replace the word judgment or judge with logical assumption. When someone comes in a store that's older, over a certain age, which mind you, I worked at a liquor store, so I had to professionally card people. But when someone comes in who's older, you have to know they're going to be a little bit slower. They might not know what they want. They might say they want one thing, and then when you bring it to the counter, they say that ain't what they wanted. I'm gonna use that situation specifically because that was the one that happened, and very irritating when you would go through all the trouble of bringing something up to the counter, and then they just like, fuck it, I don't want it. You have to let it go. You can't be like, well, why the fuck you had me bring this up, bruh? And I know I'm sorry, I make it sound. For me, it's easy. You know what I mean? Personal journey and all of that type stuff. I done dealt with a lot of crazy. But you got to just learn how to say okay instead of trying to prove your point of what's right and what's wrong, because it only leads to confrontation. Now, and this gonna roll. You cannot take a threat seriously when you're at work. They use that word projection a whole lot. And I don't think people really understand what it means. But people know that when you're at work, you're expected to behave a certain type of way. People know that when you're at work, that's how you pay your bills with your job. You know what I mean? That's why I say it's a little different with my 20-year-olds that's going to go on to work right now because they're being forced to. It's a little different. And that's another thing with judging the book by its cover is when there's somebody on both sides with the customers, you know what I mean? When it's a job like Popeyes or something with a lot of young folks working in there, you have to know that they haven't experienced as much, so they're going to respond a little bit more surprised, by a ignorant interaction or something like that. Someone that's young, they haven't experienced as much ignorance as somebody that's older. I ain't gonna say my age, older. So I think that's the main thing, and I might go back try to make this not so long. But you have to know how to judge a book by its cover. This would be easier if somebody put some questions or something like that, but that's all I'm going to do for the day. I've been going long enough already. I'm going to rewatch it. Hopefully it's good enough for me to go. But let's roll from there. One love. Good morning, good afternoon. Somebody put me a question, maybe not good night yet, but all right. Positive vibrations.